I think, to be honest with you, people form an impression of him, and then they get to know him and they change their impression of him.
Tiene todo su glamour, pero sobre todo es lo que es por lo que hace en el campo.
Who else could have done it? I can't even think of anyone else who'd have kept their bottle, because that's one chance, you know?
I wasn't prepared for how good-looking he was. I mean, he's an exceedingly good-looking man.
I call him golden balls, you know, now, because, I mean...
He's just starving hungry to lift the World Cup and bring it back home.
He's a great captain, and he's certainly the man and an example to other players.
Everybody knows David Beckham. He's the most famous footballer in the world. But what do we really know about him? As a lifelong football fan, I've read all the stories. And like everyone else, I have my opinions. But then he invited me into his world. I spent the best part of 5 months with him, saw the truth behind the headlines, and met the people who know him best.
When we get inside, I'm going to have an in-depth football discussion with him.
Oh shit, you can ask me about offside, aren't you?
What follows is an exclusive look into the real world of David Beckham.
Whatever has happened in my life and whatever we've got, we are normal people.
I'm Tim Lovejoy, and I'm in the Spanish capital, home to one of the biggest clubs in football, Real Madrid. I'm going to watch a game and see their star player. And on the way, I'm having a chat with one of the most famous women in the world, who also happens to be his wife.
OK, we're on the way to the Bernabeu. What's your routine like? How often do you do this?
Well, I go to all the home games. In Spain, you don't go to away games, not even the hardcore fans. It's not like in England where the fans travel. So I go to all the home games, and if it's an early kick-off, I take the children. If it's a late kick-off, I don't, because they have school the next morning. I mean, me and the kids love coming. I mean, the boys love it, they really do.
And how do the fans treat you as you're sort of going through the... You actually have to walk a bit into the stadium, don't you?
Can you believe I have to walk?
I can't believe it.
Posh has to walk. It's crap, that.
But you have to walk through the fans. How do they treat you?
They're really nice. I mean, I've got to say, you know, even in England, when I go to England games, you know, I mean, the fans are really supportive. The public are really supportive. You know, the fans and the people in Spain have made us really, really welcome.
Are we near the stadium now? We are, right?
We're not far. Why? Do you want to buy a flag or something?
Yeah.
Do you want to buy a scarf?
Do you know what I like is when someone scores a goal in England, we go, yeah. Over here it's goal. It's just a different noise.
Yeah, it's probably because they speak different language.
Do you know what?
Do
you know what? I think you might have sussed it there. That's a good point.
There are 80,000 fans inside the Bernabeu Stadium, and Victoria is as impressed as any of them.
He's so talented. I mean, I always say to him, God, it would be so... I wish I was that talented. And he says, you are. I said, no, I'm not the best singer, the best dancer. I will always admit that. But to have that natural talent like he has is fantastic.
The search for talent is where all good football stories begin. And that's why 5 months earlier, on a cold November morning in South London, I joined the world's press to take part in an important event.
It's cold, isn't it? It's cold.
How you doing? You all right? You all right? Yeah? How you doing? The kit looks good.
It's the launch of the David Beckham Football Academy.
Have you all had the day off school?
Yeah.
So you're all happy then?
Yeah.
Feeling okay? Good.
This is just one of the special football schools he's opening for children around the world.
You seem to have a lot of empathy with children. Do you think that some of that empathy might be because, unlike adults who can all make money off the back of you, children are there because they like you and they sort of appreciate your football talent and who you are as a person?
No, definitely. That's the best thing about, you know, working around children, because they are honest. You know, if you've played a bad pass, they'll tell you you've played a bad pass. If you've done something stupid, they'll tell you, you know, and that's the great thing about working with kids. You're not nervous, are you? What are you going to be like when you're playing at Wembley? Yeah. This is a dream come true for me. To see the kids here today, my dream has become a reality now. I went to the Bobby Charlton Soccer School, and I had such an amazing time there. You know, it kept me out of trouble. So I wanted to create, you know, something like that.
And it's kids of all levels, isn't it? It's not just the elite.
Yeah, that's one thing that was so important to me. Yeah, if we find, you know, great players that go on to be professional players, England players, then amazing. But, you know, the most important thing is kids come down and have fun.
The Academy in London is the new home for David's precious collection of football memorabilia.
This was one of my first Man United shirts that my mum and dad bought me for Christmas. They used to buy me the United shirt and United kit every Christmas. My granddad used to buy me the Tottenham kit, so it's a bit difficult because we spent Christmas morning at my mum and dad's house and Christmas afternoon at my nan and granddad's.
They're the famous boots where you scored from in your own half, which not many people have done. I believe Pelé hasn't even done that.
There's the time for Manchester United with Beckham! That's absolutely brilliant!
It was such an unusual goal. That ability to be able to kick the ball that far, let alone be on target and see the keeper off his line, all those things, it did catapult him onto a different level, and you know, I think it went a little bit mad.
We move on to the probably the best shirt you've got in your collection here. It's the one where you scored the free kick last minute against Greece to make us qualify for the 2002 World Cup.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it? You haven't washed it?
No, I don't wash the shirts because I think they're more authentic. But, you know, definitely this was one of the most probably emotional days in my career.
Beckham could raise the roof here with a goal. I don't believe it! David Beckham!
There's something kind of perfect about that goal. The timing of it, the dying seconds.
To the World Cup finals!
If he hadn't scored that goal and we'd been cast into the playoffs, who knows what would have happened, whether we would have qualified. And there was a lot riding on it, so it was an amazing moment.
Well, mate, you know, who else could have done that? Can't think of anyone else who'd have kept their bottle from that way out, knowing exactly where he was going to put that ball, because that's one chance, you know, and it's all over, you know, and that's amazing. Should have been Sir David Beckham after that, really, shouldn't it?
When you reach that ultimate high like that, is there a down which comes with it?
Oh yeah, I had that the morning after when I went in for training with United, and Alex Ferguson was like, okay, it's a goal.
No. But he's Scottish.
Yeah.
There was never anybody who could kick a football like him. You know, he could kick a football miles. His technique in kicking a football was unbelievable. The one thing that, you know, he always had, he had quality. You know, if the ball had to be delivered into an area, he could deliver it. There's a lot talked about team spirits in the dressing room, but for about 4 or 5 years, from 96 through to 2000, 2001, the spirit was absolutely incredible at United.
Do you think you could have stayed at Man United all your life?
Yeah, without a doubt. I expected to and thought I always would.
I genuinely believe that David is, you know, still probably upset about the fact that he's left United because, you know, he loves the club. He grew up loving the club. You can't grow up from the age of 4 or 5, you know, having something as being part of your life and then, you know, expect that it's not going to hurt you.
People saying that I was having talks, I was already talking to Real Madrid. I never talked to Real Madrid until I actually got the phone call to say, you know, the club want to sell you. And that's the first time I spoke to Madrid about that. And, you know, I never ever expected to leave United.
Did it hurt that the guy who's brought you into the team, made you who you are, kept your feet on the ground when you scored the goal against Greece, protected you, looked after you, suddenly doesn't want you?
A lot. I think that's what hurt at the time because, as I said, everyone knows that I'm a Man United fan and Man United mad, and I never ever, you know, I think at the time when I signed for Real Madrid and when I got home, I think I actually cried because, you know, it was Man United. It was a team that I'd been at for my whole life.
In 2003, David Beckham left Man United and signed for Spanish super club Real Madrid. But, as I discover in part 2, whether it's Spain or England, in David's life, one thing is always the same.
It's like Beatlemania, isn't it?
been 3 years since David Beckham moved to Spain after signing for Real Madrid. The next time we meet, it's for a meal out in the Spanish capital. It's my opportunity to see how well the locals have taken to him.
Sí, un poco. No mucho. Por favor.
Sí.
Gracias.
So in Madrid, where are we?
This is one of the first restaurants that I came to when I first joined Madrid, and since the day I stepped in here they'd never let me pay. It's nice, but it's embarrassing as well. I get embarrassed for things like that.
So to leave a big tip.
I do leave a big tip
here, and I was going to say, are you popular in Spain? But the reaction when you walked in here, you're doing all right over here, aren't you? They do like you.
The reaction over here is great. You know, people are so passionate about wanting to see you, and they're very touchy-feely over here. You know, that was one of the problems with the story where the girl was getting my autograph, because in Spain it's rude if you don't do 2 kisses. Even the men, you know, the men like grab you and want to hug you and kiss you. You know, that's the way it is.
If ever it stops, you probably won't miss it, will you? People staring at you everywhere you go.
Probably not. But yeah, I don't know, because I've never been in a situation where I haven't had it.
I suppose he's really the first guy who's taken it on a level since George Best, really. The obsession with his lifestyle away from the pitch has certainly reached new levels.
Come on!
I think Bex embraces it. You know, I don't think at times he likes it, but I think there are times when he does like it, and I think that's fair. I think he'll accept that.
I mean, being out with him and, you know, leaving a restaurant, you know, it's like leaving with the sort of Hollywood superstar. He doesn't get annoyed, but he just gets slightly frustrated because he just wants to live a normal life, and that's the real David.
You can't just pop out for a pint of milk, can you?
Not really. I do like to do normal things like that. I love going food shopping. I love food shopping. Yeah.
What, in supermarkets?
Yeah. Like we're moving into our new house, so I went the other day to get all the utensils and all the new kettle and things, and I love doing things like that.
But when you were, like, the other day you were photographed in the papers wearing sort of like, as they were saying, a cowboy outfit.
Poncho.
Yeah. Poncho, you're wearing a poncho. Now, you know, when you wear that out, you know everybody's going to pick up on that, don't you? Is there a bit inside you which is giggling to yourself going, this is quite funny, I like what I'm wearing, but I'm going to get absolutely slaughtered tomorrow? I mean...
Not really. I don't think about being slaughtered, you know. I just wear something. If I like it, I'll wear it. It doesn't matter whether I think, oh, tomorrow I'm going to get caned. You know, if I like something, I'll wear it. Like that, I liked it, and I was given it, and it was great, so I just thought, sod it, I'll wear it.
Do you have a stylist?
No.
So you choose your own stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Bex has always had stick from the players since he was 16, 17, since he, you know, updated his leather and his, you know, his under Prelude. You know, everyone else had, you know, normal seats. He had to have extra leather, you know, and he wouldn't let anybody go in the back because it'd scuff his leather. And he's always been like, and he's always obviously took the brunt of jokes on things like that.
How about the guys then in the team? Do you ever do like, I know the English players obviously go on a male bonding thing?
It's not as much as you used to do in England, but like every now and again we'll go out for a meal, we'll come to a place like this.
So do you drink when you're out here? Do the players drink?
Not really. It's not a huge amount, you know. I love red wine, so mostly red wine I drink. I'm not a big drinker, to be honest.
At Real Madrid, David plays with the world's football elite. Together, they earn an eye-watering £98 million a year. This star-studded lineup has been christened the Galacticos.
Do you have to sometimes pinch yourself when you're looking around your teammates in that Madrid team? I mean, incredible selection of players there. Could you pick one out as being the best?
Zidane. You know, the Brazilians are great. Ronaldo's unbelievable, but for me, Zidane does things that are like... He's got so much respect through the changing room.
Yo creo que ha aportado lo que tiene todos los ingleses, la voluntad de nunca dejar las cosas, siempre ir a más.
Ronnie, when he's on the pitch, he's incredible, but he's such a nice person, so normal.
Una persona increíble que está siempre bromeando, nunca le ves de mal humor, pase lo que pase, en el momento que sea en su vida, pues está siempre con una sonrisa.
Obviously, the English fans, you know, they pinpointed you when you played for Man United, sung songs about you. Do they do that over here? Do the fans sing songs about the players?
Yeah, they
But do you understand them?
Yeah, they sing Beckham Maricon.
What does that mean?
Which is Beckham faggot. which they sing about me and about Guti.
Do you think of Madrid now as your home? Your home?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. We've finally found a house that we like here. We've found an area that we like. It's in the same areas where the kids' school is, and you know, everything's settled down. I think it's important for people in Spain, in Madrid, to see that I'm actually, you know, I want to learn the language. I want to settle down here. My children are happy here. My family's happy here. I'm happy playing football here.
David was so relaxed during our meal, I'd almost forgotten that his every move is monitored by the press. So while I left through the front door, he had to escape out the back. When you're this famous, everyone wants a piece of you, and even our meal together makes front page news.
David suffers from this terrible affliction that's within our society now, that's the celebrity. Now, at least David's done something to earn that celebrity beyond buying earrings or putting on a crap television show. I mean, he's actually achieved celebrity because he's the best at what he does.
How do you think your relationship with the press is like? What do you think it's like?
I think it's quite good. You know, I think that I've had my ups and downs like most people. But, you know, all the bad stuff that's been written about me, most of it is my personal life. And, you know, people don't know me, so they can write what they want.
What I find out hard to believe is why journalists do believe that we're more interested of the crap side of someone's life than actually the genius of what they are.
But star footballers are considered public property, and none more so than David Beckham. Whether it's playing on the pitch or being involved in his many off-the-field commitments, the cameras are always there. And so are his fans.
I think the majority of people that I come across in Madrid are really nice, you know, want autographs, want pictures, but just really nice to me. That, you know, they'll come up and talk to me, and it's good because I want to feel, especially to people over here, you know, I want to feel approachable, and you know, I have had people come up to me and say, you know, we don't think that we can come up and speak to you and talk to you and ask for an autograph, and you know, that's just because of what either they've read or they've heard, or you know, some story that, you know, is not true. So, you know, I think that's what's nice about the sort of the public and the attention that I do get over here, because they actually come up to me and they talk to me, and that's a good thing.
So do they know you in this coffee shop? Yeah.
They know. I don't even have to ask for what I have, because I have the same every day. Every day, vanilla latte, extra hot, extra hot. They can't understand and believe that I have it so hot. But do you want a coffee?
Thank you.
Sure?
Yeah.
Two donuts for the boys. They love the donuts. So. Driving is a sort of release for me. You know, it's a bit of normality. You know, it's something nearly every person does every day. Drive to work. So, you know, that's my way of having some normality in my life, if possible. Like going to the grocery store, things like that. I was at Manchester for 15 years, and you know, training with the likes of, you know, Keeney, Brian Robson, Steve Bruce. You know, everyone's flying into tackles, winning headers, everything. You know, and that's the way I was brought up. But you know, it is totally different here. go and work hard. You enjoy yourself. Right, not sure you'll be able to film from now on.
When Madrid signed Beckham, some claimed it was for his commercial pulling power rather than his footballing talent. Sure enough, shirt sales immediately rocketed, and despite 3 trophyless seasons, Madrid have now overtaken Man United as the world's most valuable club. But Beckham is arguably their best player, and is a huge hit with the fans.
Que es el mejor futbolista del mundo y el corte de pelo es muy guapo.
Me parece que aporta bastante al equipo. Me gustan sus centros.
Beckham me gusta cómo tira las faltas.
He has been their best player, I think, for most of the time he's been there, actually. It's been unfortunate that he's arrived at a club at the end of an era, really, I think, and at a time when players like Ronaldo and Zidane and Raúl are approaching the end of their careers.
With Real in a transitional period, the rumour mill is working overtime. But whatever the stories, one player seems happy to stay.
You know, the only club I would ever have gone to, apart from Manchester United, was here. You know, I don't want to play. There are other great clubs in England, of course. You know, there's Arsenal, there's Chelsea, there's Liverpool, there's other clubs, but there's no other club that I would rather play for in England anymore. You know, it's here or Manchester United, and that's the way. You know, that's the way I feel about the situation, to be honest.
What about Arsenal? I hear you're signing for them.
Apparently so. Apparently so.
David has arranged a real treat for me, something every football fan would die for.
I go first. Yeah.
Something which few are allowed: to actually walk on the hallowed turf at the Bernabeu Stadium.
Oh my God. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
When was the first time you played here?
It was with Man United, Champions League. We got battered. I don't think we knew what had hit us. Then, first time I played here was against, I think it was Malaga in the Spanish version of Charity Shield. First time I touched the ball, the whole stadium started clapping. So it settled me down straight away, and then I played a couple of long balls which worked. And then I scored a goal from Ronnie's pass.
It's good reaction there, Dave. It's like Beatlemania, isn't it?
I don't know, I weren't around at that time. How was it?
It's good. It must be great getting that reaction off people, isn't it?
It is, you know, like the reaction when we went into the restaurant. I think, you know, you can't beat that sort of reaction and that sort of love for a person, and it is amazing. One of them said, "Te quiero, te quiero, I love you." One of them said, "Te quiero, I love you."
And how was it your first match out here? Because obviously you didn't speak Spanish, and not a lot of the players spoke English, did they? So how did you actually communicate with the players when you're playing?
I think once you're on a pitch and once you're playing with these players, you don't really have to speak too much, to be honest, because, you know, these players don't need to talk on a football pitch. I know, you know, in coaching manuals and when you're kids, you know, people, managers and coaches are always like, you know, talk, keep talking to the players and telling. But with these players, you don't need to communicate that well because they know where you are, they know what to do. I know where they are and where they like it, and that's the way it works. To play in this stadium is so special, you know, it's like playing at Old Trafford. You get that feeling of, you know, you never want to come off the pitch.
It'd be a fitting place to end your career here, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think this is where it's going to end?
I think so, yeah. I think so, because at the end of my career I want to be known as a player that has played at a top level for the best teams, and they don't come much better and bigger than Manchester United and Real Madrid.
I can imagine.
Coming up in part 3.
You know that I love driving, so I have to have something that excites me.
The highs of being David Beckham and the lows.
These are the guys that follow us day in and day out. Follow your kids, follow your family, follow your wife. For me, it's taking it a step too far.
The next time I see David Beckham, it's on a jet back to the UK. It's a chance to quiz him about private air travel and his new hairstyle.
It's convenient getting these, isn't it?
Very. It is nice to have this, and it's great. You know, I do love it.
Why'd you get your hair cut? Did the wife tell you to get it cut?
She wasn't loving the long hair, I must admit. And to be honest, if I'd have known what everyone else was thinking, I'd have done it earlier. Because since I've had it cut, they're like, seriously, we're so glad you've cut that long hair off.
And when are you developing the haircut for the World Cup? Do you actually think about it? Because you did, didn't you, with your Mohican? Didn't you plan that one?
No, not really. Not really. I was bored, and I just thought, why not? Just do it.
How did that go down with Sir Alex Ferguson?
He told me to shave it off. He come over, he said, what is that? And he went and got me a razor. I think it was Fabian's, Barthez's. And he said, go and get it off now. So I was in Wembley, in the toilet, shaving my hair.
Good, well, it's a good day actually to get you, because it is a Sunday, and we got the Sunday papers back in England. And what is great about this is you make it into every paper. Do you know that?
Really?
Now I had the opportunity to see if what the newspaper said matched reality. We had on film the exact moment a headline was created. The headline, boasting Beckham torments Arsenal, came from this press conference.
They're a great team. They've got a great manager. They've got great players. You know, they might not be playing well at the moment. It sells papers. They don't want to hear me saying how great Arsenal are and how great their players and how great Arsene Wenger is. You know, I'll just come out with something like, you know, it might be a bad time for them, and then they've turned it into something else.
Beckham, I can't do Brooklyn's homework. A massive whole page, on page 3, of how you can't do Brooklyn's homework. You said this tongue in cheek.
I'd said in jest, you know, Brooklyn's homework's so hard, sometimes I have to pass it on to Victoria.
What is the most stupid thing you've ever read about yourself?
There's too many.
I heard a rumour that you never wear a pair of trainers twice, that every time you put a pair of trainers on, they're a brand new pair. Is that true?
That's nearly true.
Is it?
Yeah. But you know, all my mates and, you know, some of my family, they all take the other trainers. It's not as if I just throw them away and, you know, actually these are my new ones actually. I read a silly one about me the other day that I only wear my underpants once and then throw them away and get a new pair. And I was seen in El Corte Inglés in Madrid buying like 30 boxes of Calvin Klein, which is not true.
But apparently
I don't wear old pants, but I wear, you know, I don't wear them just once.
Another favourite subject for the tabloids is David's tattoos.
Are tattoos addictive?
Very. Very.
Are you addicted to the pain of it, or are you addicted to
Funnily enough, I know it sounds weird, I actually enjoy the pain. At first it hurts, but then, you know, you start to enjoy the pain. The only one that was a bit sore was the one on my neck, which also caused a lot of controversy, and people were saying, what is he doing? You know, has he totally lost it?
I'm not a believer in tattoos through my upbringing, but I know his dad's got a tattoo, and at the end of the day, you know, if you're asking me, should he have had tattoos? I would have said no. But he's had tattoos. So what? At the end of the day, it's his body, it's his life. He can do whatever he wants.
People turn around and say, you know, people have tattoos because they're not sure of themselves and things like that. You know, there's a whole thing around tattoos, and you know, it's a personal thing for me. It's not something for everyone else. Everyone else can see them, of course, but it's a personal thing for me. You know, when I do decide to do something, it doesn't matter what anyone says about that, whether they'll like it or not. You know, I'll do it, and that's the way it is with me.
I could see that David takes most of what the papers say with a pinch of salt. But having witnessed the media circus that surrounds him, it must be hard to read certain headlines, even when you're so used to media intrusion.
I think fame takes some growing into and some getting used to, you know. I think that David's matured over the years. He's understood what he has to do now. I think when I first interviewed him, there was a kind of a freshness about him. There's a joy about being famous. I think he's had a bit of that knocked out of him in a sense, and that's the price you pay, I suppose, the kind of scrutiny that you're under.
It must be very hard for you to trust people. A lot of people come into your life and every one of them can potentially make money off the back of you. You have that sort of...
horrible thing, yeah.
It is kind of a weird thing. It's like, I mean, the amount of money I'd get for selling a story on you is more than I'd get for making this documentary.
Yeah.
So it must be quite hard for you to trust people.
It's impossible to trust people, for me. And I don't like being like that because, you know, I'm not that sort of person. But I've been sort of made into that person because there's been so many things and so many people not let me down but just sold lies on me, and I think that's the tough part to do, because we could be suing people every week, every day. There's a different story that is not true.
The morning after the flight from Spain, I'm at a promotional event with England's football stars. It's the launch of the New England kit.
The new kit does just look great.
As England captain, David takes centre stage.
All you've got to do now is emulate Bobby Moore and win the World Cup for us.
Well, that's what we want to do. You know, we've got the talent in our team to go all the way.
He's been captain for nearly 6 years now and playing for the national team for almost 11. It's an international career that's been intensely scrutinised by press and fans alike.
Well, best of luck with the back and everything. I'll see you tomorrow.
Some of his most memorable moments, both good and bad, have been in an England shirt.
Beckham's free kick. Number 3!
I think what made David Beckham for me was when he got sent off against Argentina, you know, for a silly foul, you know. I'd rather him gone crunching and really smashed the geezer to bits, you know. From that moment on, you know, there was kind of the making of the man in a way, because it could have finished him. And it finished him around a lot of the stadiums, you know, a lot of people went against him.
By having a flippant moment and, you know, retaliating, you know, the guy became one of the most hated icons in football.
People hung effigies of him, and the criticism he got after '98, what more can hurt him? You know, what more can hurt you after you've gone through that?
For him to come back and be captain of England and to pick yourself up off the floor makes you kind of a special person, I think, you know.
And it's as captain of England that controversy has continued to follow him. When we next meet, it's at a joint press conference with England manager Sven-Göran Eriksson. The media has a continuing obsession with the relationship between boss and skipper.
People still argue that he's in the England side. There's a commercial imperative, and that his fame has blinded Eriksson in particular.
If he thought I wasn't good enough to be in the team, he's professional enough, he's experienced enough to turn around and pick the team himself. He doesn't have to be told by any person who he has to play.
Objectively speaking, he is worth his place in the England side. You know, he's one of the best right-sided players in the world. He's one of the best crossers in the world. And who else are you going to pick in that side?
Has there been much thought within the squad about... Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, you know. So many times you see it in the paper, should he be England captain, but we've got the right man in charge. You know, whether it be for another 4 or 5 years, he's certainly the man and an example to other players, and we're certainly learning from him.
You know, he knew that when he took over, it wasn't going to be a bed of roses. It never is with England. It's hard work, you know. Sometimes the press are, you know, pain in the backside.
How do you feel about that now?
I think, to be fair, the press conference went well. You know, today it was very relaxed. I think it was very. There was a lot of banter flying around in there, and no, it went very well.
Talking about football with the press is one thing. The real work takes place on the pitch. and watching him train with the England squad, you can see the camaraderie and respect that exists.
Yeah, that guy will go through a brick wall for any of those players, and that's why he's still the captain today.
His authority is still undimmed as captain, but I think there are beginnings of factions that maybe after this World Cup it might be time to try to pass on the reins.
There's a certain part of me when I'm having to get on the plane to come back, there's that feeling in my stomach that I don't want to go. You know, I want to be in England for a little bit longer, but you know, that's gone slightly now, but I still get that.
In Madrid, the Beckham family are putting down their roots in a new home, which is where David keeps some of his cars.
You know that I love driving, so I have to have something that excites me. So I have the Gallardo, which I've had now for a year and a half. And as you notice, with every one of my cars, I have to do something that's personal to me. So for that one, I got the wheels from America with the 23 in the middle, biggest wheels possible. There I have the Hummer. I've had the Hummer for about a year and a half now. The kids love this car. That's one of the reasons why I keep it, because they just adore it. This one is my car at the moment. In fact, it's probably one of the best looking cars that I bought actually. I love the wheels, probably the best set of wheels that I've had. The icon in the middle is nice. And of course I had to buy a Victoria car, and she has to have something that excites her as well, and apart from me of course. She loves it. She's got the VB on the wheels as well. Of course there is that added attention that I do get if I go out in either the Ferrari, the Lamborghini or the Hummer. But you know, I think that I love nice cars. You know, I'm not going to buy a nice car and then not drive it just because of what people say. And I'd dreamt of having a Ferrari or a Porsche when I was young. And you know, I've got that one and two more at home. So.
Celebrity might have its rewards, but it also has its costs. Just beyond the garden fence lurks the flip side of fame.
These are the guys that follow us like day in and day out. See him? That's his job, sitting outside our house. And he sat there for 3 years now. Follow your kids, follow your family, follow your wife. For me, it's taking it a step too far. If you had someone sat at your door for 3 years without a camera, they're a stalker. Because they've got a camera, that's fine. They can sit there, they can do it. They can do what they want, they can follow you wherever you go. I just find it amazing they can get away with that sort of stuff, you know?
As David met up with his Real Madrid teammates to travel for an away game, a story was breaking that would become news around the globe. The news was that David suffers from obsessive-compulsive disorder. Some of our film footage had been leaked to the press. The origin of the story was my own interview back in the Madrid restaurant, when I'd asked him about his young son, Romeo.
He's so much like me, you know. His nan bought him football boots for Christmas, and he like lines them up exactly, because I've got this obsessive compulsive disorder where I have to have everything in a straight line, or everything has to be in pairs, or you know, I'll put my Pepsi cans in the fridge and they'll all be, if there's one too many, then I'll put it in another cupboard somewhere. I've got that problem.
Do you actually do it?
Yeah.
Is it a superstitious thing?
No, I don't think it is now. I think it's a problem.
What does Victoria think of it?
She thinks I'm a weirdo.
For me, an interesting but innocent part of our interview, but leaked to the tabloids, another sensational headline at David's expense.
You've been made out in the Sunday papers about your OCD, that you're sort of slightly mental and strange and a weirdo, and it's all been taken slightly out of context. How does that make you feel?
I think a lot of things happen like that, you know, when people have not actually seen you say it, and actually seen the situation and seen you having a laugh and a joke. You know, the papers take it all out of context and make it into a big, oh, he's mad, he's a bit of a weirdo. It's become sort of part of my life, really. You know, a lot of the things that have happened or not happened in my life, and then it gets documented in the papers and blown up and put out the wrong way.
Coming up, bending it like Beckham.
As soon as you hit the sweet spot, you know, it's a great feeling.
And does the future lie in Spain or England?
Honestly, no one's more surprised than me about saying this, but I don't want to go back right now.
I don't really get nervous in football games, but you know, that penalty, I think, is the most nervous I've ever been.
Responsibility now is that of David Beckham.
If you watch the video back, you know, the camera goes on my face and Simeone's coming up to me trying to shake my hand, and I had to literally turn my back and walk away because, you know, I wanted to be focused for that penalty.
David Beckham's free kicks and penalties have always made him an asset on the pitch. It's still something he practices after every training session.
It's a huge part of my game, and I've always practiced, you know, from when I was 6-7 years old. You know, sometimes when you hit one sweet, it's like being a golfer. As soon as you hit the sweet spot, you know, and it's a great feeling.
I have to be honest, I prefer watching English football. I find it faster in a weird way, do you?
Yeah. It's my last day in Madrid. I'm back in the Bernabeu Stadium with Victoria, watching Real play. And how'd you get on with the other players and wives?
We go to parties and, you know, I meet the girlfriends, but I don't get to know them that well. But, you know, the players are really, really sweet. Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos. If they're having a barbecue at their house on a Sunday afternoon, we're always invited with the kids, and I think those two in particular have made it easier for the two of us. They've been really sweet.
Yeah, people forget you got married you had a kid at 23, didn't you?
Yeah.
Married with the kids at 23.
Yeah.
It's young, isn't it?
Yeah.
And with all the pressures as well and
Yeah.
everything. It's not done it easy, you two.
No, but I think, you know, what you probably see a bit more than what other people do is that deep down we're really normal and we love each other. Yeah, contrary to how it looks or what anybody says, you know, and that's the most important thing, you know, we're solid as a couple.
So, you know, I've been to your house, it's beautiful, and you both look quite settled here. It's only a short-term thing, though, isn't it, eventually? Because David eventually is going to retire, you'll go back to England.
I'm not so sure we would now, and honestly, no one's more surprised than me about saying this, but I don't want to go back right now. You know, because now we've got our house, we've got a nice set of friends, the kids are happy.
The game ends 4-0 to Real. Afterwards, I travel back with the Beckhams. So what do you think of that match?
Average.
The highs and lows of your career have been amazing. The more I think about it, the Greece goal and the sending off against Argentina are two, I mean, the most massive high and the most massive, some fans, the massive lows.
In the last 10 years, I've probably been through a lot of ups and downs in football and in life, and you know, I've come out of it, and you know, I'm still England captain. I'm still playing for one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world. I'm married. I've got 3 beautiful sons. You know, and life could not be better. But I know, having been through it, how quickly that can change.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, David.
You're right. Well said.
It's nearly killed me a few times.
It's nearly killed all of it. It's nearly killed our whole family.
Are you looking forward to retiring and spending time with the family? I mean, I know you want to play football.
Of course, I'm looking forward to spending time with the family. I think that's going to be one of the highlights and one of the things I'm looking forward to more than anything. But of course, I'm going to miss it.
It's hard to think of David Beckham not playing football. Such has been his level of success and prominence within the game. One day his career will end, but not just yet.
He's only 31, for God's sake. You know, he's got another 5 years playing, and you haven't seen the end of him yet.
I want to carry on playing for the country and leading England out as much as possible and as many games as possible. I'd love to get to Sir Bobby Moore or Sir Bobby Charlton's record of caps. I would love to reach that.
He could have that kind of air about him over Bobby Moore, you know, in a way, because Bobby Moore was chest out, blonde hair, bang, England, you know.
It's such a massive World Cup, and for Bex to be the man leading us there with such a great squad of players, we've got a real chance, and he must feel that inside as well, that, you know, it's a chance possibly for him to lift the World Cup.
It's been a fascinating 5 months getting to know the real David Beckham, finding out what his life is really like. Whatever fame and success has brought him, Beckham still remains passionate about the sport that has made him who he is.
I know I'm going to miss football once I finish, but I'm going to make sure that I've got things outside of football that are going to keep me busy.
He had a dream as a kid to become a professional football player. That is ultimately what his life is about. He's done something that every single kid in the world dreams of.
You know, there's so many moments in my career and so many moments in my life where I look back and I think, I wanted to play for Man United, I wanted to play at Wembley, I wanted to captain my country. It's just incredible for me to just look back and see, you know, this is what I dreamt of when I was a young kid, and, you know, whatever you think, whatever you want, them things can come true.
As the countdown continues to Saturday's big match at Old Trafford, both teams need preparation, so England captain Robbie Williams leads his stars out as they take on the England legends. A cracking match in store for Soccer Aid, next on ITV1.